Jesus Christ.
What's going on, everybody? This is Dan French. We had some technical difficulties here, and I wanted to start off this show. Thank you guys for tuning in on this Saturday morning. And we have a full show today. We're going to talk a lot about what's happening with buying a home, and don't lose your mind, really, or your head in buying in this housing market. And we have a full studio today, and I'm going to be introducing each one here one by one. We got a familiar face, which is Mr. Matt Shield. And Matt, you're from Simply Vegas. What's going on today, buddy? How are you?
I am well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming in, man.
Top of the morning to you.
Top of the morning, man. It's been good that you've been here. What's going on with you today? Anything new?
Yeah, I'm just like really chipper.
Chipper. I like that. I was just like I said before. That's a British man for you. British. Just so proper. Chipper. Something you never hear an American say. Hey Rick, how's your morning? Oh, chipper, bro. Chipper.
We also got Mr. Brett Jenny over here.
Bro, you ain't here, yeah.
Brett Jenny's over here.
That's our international talent right there.
That's right. Brett Jenny's over here, and he's pretty much being Brett Jenny.
Touche.
What's going on today, Brett? What's happening, buddy?
Man, just Saturday. It's hot out, brother.
It's hot out.
Hot.
Frying eggs on the sidewalk.
That's right.
Just like the housing market.
That's right. We also got back another familiar face over here, and we're going to bring everybody in. We got Mr. Rick Douglas he's a CPA, so we got him here. And this is a crazy housing market we got going on right now, guys. Isn't that crazy? What's going on? What do you guys see?
Absolutely crazy, man.
What do you think's happening? We've got people out there that are looking to buy homes.
It's like the heat right now. There's no relief.
There's no relief.
I mean, it's just still doing what it's been doing for the past couple
figure
months.
My clients keep asking me, like, so should I sell my house?
Yeah.
What should I do?
Well,
I'm like, yeah. So it was crazy yesterday. Yesterday I get a call Thursday night from a client. And they're like, hey, we have to talk to you tomorrow. I need 30 minutes of your time. I'm like, okay, all right, fine. Okay.
Yeah.
9 a.m. All right, call me. So she calls me, and she's a real estate agent.
Yeah.
And she goes, all right, so I had to get a renter out of the house. The only way to get a renter out of the house is to put your house up on the market.
Right.
Because they weren't paying.
Yeah.
So she goes, you know what? I'm going to throw it out there. I think it topped out normally in that neighborhood, maybe $650. So she goes, I put it on the market for $725. And what does she get? Like within a day, she gets a cash offer for $750.
Wow.
Dude, what I tell you, that price point.
That is a big...
For some reason, have you noticed that the price point between like 6 to 8 to 850 right now is...
It's crazy.
That's the one where people are doing 50, 60 grand.
It's
or more
unreal.
over.
And I said, well, first of all, you have to ask them a question. Two questions. Are they from California? And what is their belief system?
Right.
Because if they're going to bring in the high taxes...
technically you can as a realtor, dude. But you can.
Matt, what are you seeing out there, man? You got people out there, are they losing their mind right now?
Well, I know what you mean, dude.
Are they losing their mind just buying a home right now?
I mean, my clients aren't, because I've already taken... Oh, hello. Is that better? Yeah.
There you go, buddy.
Yeah. So I already schooled my clients as to what to expect, so they don't lose their mind, because I already amputated their brain before we start the process.
Well, you have to. Yeah.
I'm just saying, look, don't take this personally. You've done very well in your life. You're good people. It's just how this is, and you have to deal with it. And if you don't have like 50% in cash, then you got to pull like 7 shades of ninja to get this contract accepted.
Right.
I'm not saying I'm not going to work every day for you, but I'm letting you know the odds are in your favor.
So I had some people, I got a deal done, and they had 5% down.
Okay.
And normally, I met them in... they weren't really serious. I met them in November. They didn't get serious till January. And then just everything went John Wick with the market.
John Wick. Dude, I love those movies.
I know. That's a good analogy.
Yeah, it went straight
Don't
John
take your
Wick.
dog.
No, it went John Wick. And then everyone showed up in Las Vegas and was buying homes like crazy. And so I managed to get it done, but it would normally take 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a week, because I'm good.
Yeah.
Right. But what happened was it took 5 months.
Wow.
And it was some major push-ups, but we got it done.
Yeah.
And I said to them, look, I said, guys, the house was for 520. the way I got the deal done, which has worked for me, which is like a trick, not a trick, it's a technique. It's not a trick. There's nothing tricky about it.
Yeah.
It's just strategy, no trickiness. And so what happened was I offered the seller, it was listed for 520, they're putting 5% down. I told them, I connected with the selling agent and I said, yeah, my clients have got tons of money, which wasn't true.
Right.
But they didn't ask to see the proof of funds because I said, look, here's 5% down, here's some money, and we got more, but like, we just want the house, so let's not talk about it. And then I said, to write a really clean offer, but how I got it done, because there was multiple offers, but we offered 520, and I said, at close of escrow, my seller, my buyer, is going to give your seller 10 grand, just for like, you could use that to pay your commission or whatever. Like, they really want the house and we're super cool. I'm cool. The buyers are cool. This is great. And we got the deal done, but like, it didn't appraise.
Yeah.
And I knew it wasn't going to appraise, but I had an appraisal contingency in there. And so in the end, there was a lot of shenanigans to like get it done, but in the end, it didn't appraise. It appraised for 505. So I said, look, good news. We're going to take that 10K that I was going to give your seller. I'm going to stick it in the appraisal, and we're going to give you another 5K. And hey presto, we'll close your house in a week and a half.
Yeah.
And then because the house is empty, and I'm like, and if you don't want to do that, you're gonna have to go through the exact dog and pony
Yeah, I mean,
show with
they're,
someone else.
dude, they're a week and a half away. They're gonna,
And so
if the other agent was smart,
so then
dude.
they came back and they said it didn't appraise. So that the seller's agent goes to me, look, my seller wants another 5K.
Yeah.
And I sensed weakness in the tonality, and then I said, listen, guys, let's just spook them. We're not going to respond till tomorrow. And then, so we responded tomorrow and they're like, what should we do? And I said, do you know what? Fuck them. They're not our friends. Like, let's say we'll do 2,500, not 5 grand. And let's see what they say.
Yeah.
And sure enough, they accepted the 2,500.
Yeah, I've had something like that similar.
So
but
I saved my clients 2,500.
Yeah.
They got the house.
Yeah.
And then the thing is, so I'm just explaining this one particular transaction. So we got the home, 3,500 square foot home in Aliante with a pool, mediocre pool, good bones, house is tatty, right? It's nice. And so they pay top dollar. They're going to have to redo the floors, redo the paint, and they're going to have to spruce up the backyard big time. And what I said to them was like, listen, the way you approach this, the payment's great because rates are low. I said, look, the way you got to approach this is you have a house now, and this house will probably be worth $599 over the next year and a half, 2 years. But like over 5 to 10 years, it's going to be worth $599 all day. So, you know, you got
that's the thing. If you're gonna be here anyways, what are you gonna do? You're gonna rent or you're gonna own.
Yeah.
But it
so I
wasn't
guarantee
any
you're gonna
fun.
have more bang for your buck owning than renting. So and you know
what I'm
sorry,
sharing with you is it's like very aggressive out there.
Yeah.
You have to be really quick.
you have to be. You're a good agent though, man. You've been doing this for a minute,
Yeah.
so I mean, how you tackled that was great. I mean, you have to get creative, and sometimes it'll work, and sometimes it won't mean anything.
Yeah. So for my buyers now,
Well, you
what
know.
I tell them is, let's not get too emotional. We're gonna have fun, but let's not get emotional until we have a contract accepted. And let's just have some fun with it, because if you get emotionally attached to a target property, you're going to lose your enthusiasm for this process. And
Yep.
so we just...
Absolutely.
And so it's
I want to say something about that.
You coached
Yeah.
them well from the get-go.
Yeah.
That makes all the difference in the world.
Do you think that buyers right now are really not thinking properly, where maybe they're unrealistic? They don't know if they can really buy this home. Maybe they don't know if you know, like, it's like, hey, I'm going to go all in, and I don't know if I can really afford it, but I'm going to still do it because I know it's a house.
What do you mean? They don't know if they can afford it.
Well, let's say that they have a budget, or they come in with and they have only so much money,
Okay.
and they exhaust their bank account to try to
Yeah.
appease the seller, or they're just pulling nickels every which way that they can.
I would say never put yourself in that position.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make sense.
But do you think it's consistently starting to happen? And
No, I don't think it's that bad. Like, because
No.
the people just want the home. They're fully underwritten.
Yeah.
It's in their budget. They're doing it. Like, the people, like, the sad thing is that my people that are like FHA and are scraping in, that's really hard right now.
That's what I'm saying.
It's really
Well,
hard.
yeah,
And
I mean,
so
it's-
I think there's a difference in the people, right? the people under like 300, they need to scrape in to get it done, and thank their lucky stars if they do get it done.
Yeah.
Because those people, if things continue how they're going, those people are going to have to rent a house or live in a condo, because
that's the thing.
Because it's
And-
shifting.
and their rent's going to be
Always
more
gonna go
than
up.
what they're going to pay for that mortgage on it. So
And then the other
that's
thing-
your scenario, man.
The other
you
thing
know?
is this, which I mentioned this last time, is that people, when they fly into Vegas, they see all this desert and space, but the reality of the situation is we live in a fishbowl surrounded by mountains, and that fishbowl is getting filled up, and the
Yep.
land is being filled in. So over 5 to 10 years, no one's going to want to live on the other in Pahrump.
Yeah.
No one's going to live on the other side of the mountains at the back of Inspirada. Like, there's some big tracts of dirt in North Las Vegas which they can release.
We're a valley, and look at Southern LA. I mean, Southern California. Sooner or later, every valley gets filled.
Yeah, so
Sooner or
that's
later.
5 to 10 year
You know?
frame, you know. So, but the people, in answer to your first question, which was, are you seeing people scrape stuff in? Like at the, over 400 and up, 700, etc. They're making a financial decision. They've got X amount of cash to put down, and it's just they need shelter.
Yeah.
So, and they're going all in. They're going all in because they're tired of the process, and people just want shelter. And they just want the house. And if you have one of those people, it makes it hard because I consider myself a bit of a pirate, and I like to do some take a finger or
Take a finger.
But like it's hard now because my biggest success of my performance is to get the contract. Whereas normally I'd like no.
That's what I say right now. I'm
My
like, dude,
clients love
the
it.
fact that I used to be able to
When
negotiate. I used to be able to do all those things.
Yeah.
Now it's getting you
Can I say
acceptance.
though, that's when I'm representing a buyer. When I'm representing the seller, it's the same, but it's just different.
Yeah.
It's a different battle.
Yeah.
What
are you seeing out there, Rick? I mean, you talk to a lot of people, right?
I talk to a lot of people, and I tell you that they everybody's asking me, and I'm like, I wish I could tell you because who knows what happens? Maybe it crashes like it did in 2007, 8, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I just gave you the wrong advice. So I really am I've struggled to give some good
Hard.
advice. It's hard to give.
I say to my people,
Unless you have a cash offer for $750 on a $650 house, and I'm like,
that
take it and
gets
run.
silly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that's kudos for you.
What were you saying? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, oh gosh, I can't remember. I lost my train. I was gonna say something about what you just said, but
I mean, here's the thing, though, that I kind of want to bring up, like, talking about. So, lumber cost is now 4 times what it used to be. And so do you feel like we're actually going to continue to build homes? And if we're not going to continue to build homes because the cost is so high, is the housing market just going to continue to go up like that? I mean,
Dude, who knows?
and
We're in, so go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh
Man.
no, after you.
We're in uncharted territory.
Right.
It's a combination of a lot of different things. So to me, when I moved here in 2009, it was the fact that Las Vegas is not LA,
Yeah.
but we're next.
Right.
Because just using how humans work, right? So so that's starting to happen now, right? Like to full effect. It's been happening, but it's really coming full court press right now. And you still have the same, so you have a record number of permits being pulled to create new homes, but that's still only the same amount of permits that was our record last time in 05, 06. But there's literally 3 times as many people moving here now.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people are panic buying, don't you?
Well,
I would say yes.
Here's the thing.
I would say
People
yes.
need to understand there should be like 15,000 homes on the market right now. There's
Right.
2,500, dude. That's like, I can't even explain to you how.
So does that mean that is it because they can't sell the homes because they think they can't because they have renters in there
not at all.
It's
So here's the thing, okay? You have equity built up in your house. I mean, anybody who's owned for the last couple of years and before, I mean, it's common sense, man. You've got equity right now. Who would not think about trying to cash in on some of the equity? But what stops a lot of people is the fact that
They've got to move on to
well,
another
first of all,
house.
you had COVID, so even if they were making their mortgage, they didn't know if their job was going to be next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had that for almost a year. And then you have people where it's like, okay, man, I've got 150 grand equity in my house. Great, but now you got to buy into that same market.
Yeah.
So I always say, listen, if you're going to cash out, dude, you'll never go broke cashing out. Never go broke cashing out. But you should rent then for the next couple of years. That's your smartest financial move.
So here's what I feel is happening.
Honestly.
No, I know, and I agree. And actually,
Yeah.
I told these people I
Yeah.
mean, they actually had another home too. They
Well,
had two
there you
homes,
go,
but-
man.
Which so
Yeah.
it worked out. However, I'm feeling and I'm seeing and I'm hearing and the people I'm talking to is that because of these cash offers, and if you go to Southern Utah, it's kind of the same way. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have people coming in that have sold in markets.
It's
that
got to
are,
be so enticing for them.
Yeah. Well, they're selling in markets such as California,
Mm-hmm.
and they've gotten 3 to 4 or 5 times what the price of the homes are here.
Right.
And they come in, they're like,
Still cheap.
I'll just
So
get still cheap.
my-
I'll drop cash.
My sister-in-law,
Still cheap.
And they're beating everybody out in town.
my sister-in-law lives in Madison, Wisconsin. Her and her husband put their house on the market for $360,000 and they sold it for $410,000.
yeah.
That's 50 grand over in Madison, Wisconsin, dude. It's across the whole country right now.
Who's moving to Madison, Wisconsin?
Well, so Madison, Wisconsin is like LA is to movies, right? Everybody in LA has something to do with the movies. Madison is all about the university. And so,
Okay.
I mean, we've got like some of the best stem cell research in the world,
Okay.
IT in the world. It's a very like educated, like very liberal.
Is it?
Like mini Berkeley.
Okay.
Like people will come there from Berkeley and say it's like Berkeley.
Really?
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Just so you know. But then
okay.
you got the rest of Wisconsin, which is farmland.
Yeah. Right.
It's like, so everybody in Wisconsin says, Madison, it's 25 miles surrounded by reality.
Right. So you see a lot of the panic buying right now that I see. You see people
I
going
agree.
above. What's the numbers that people are willing to typically go above? Like, I know it's always different, but I mean, is there really like a set starting point that you talk with these people? Because there's a lot of people out there panic buying. There's a lot of people that maybe aren't thinking properly, and maybe they're putting themselves in a position. You look at some of these mortgages. These mortgages are pretty high now. I
Yeah.
mean, you're looking at $3,000-$4,000 mortgages.
My advice goes on 2 different levels. Do you like the house or do you love the house?
Yeah.
Well, we kind of go from there.
So to use my clients again for that transaction that took 5 months to get them their home with 5% down, we wrote 5 offers, and each time we offered about 10 or 15 grand more.
Yeah.
But each time, what got the job done was between 30 to 40K over.
Right.
So that
Wow.
I saw. So that
What
was
price point? 5?
480 to like 550.
Huh.
So what I saw with those particular people was when we got to the house that they got, we already had some form, and I'm like, each time we've been off by like 30 grand, 20. So we need to come up with an extra. So I said, instead of putting 10% down, put 5% down, and then you've got this
Yeah.
cash to play around with, and then come up with this funny business on the end about the credit to the seller, which is all which was just like a Trojan horse to get the offer accepted, because it just made it stand out. But like in that particular experience, 30K, I've heard in the office, like, homes going. The rule of thumb is like on a $1 million home. There was one that went through the office in Anthem Country Club. They listed it for 1.1. They got 1.15 cash, 0 contingencies. Lived there for free for 30 days, and will close in 7 days. Like that's like power cash maneuver.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. But
I have cash.
I
Listen to me
think-
roar.
I think the key thing is the house that we got, which was technically semi-crappy house, but good layout, right? It doesn't matter. It's like I said, everyone's going John Wick out there.
yeah.
They're like throwing stars.
Yeah.
Like they're just trying to get the contract.
Yeah.
Take me
You know?
back to both of you guys, and you guys can each talk a little
Okay.
bit on this. But I want to ask this question because take me through the mindset of these people out there that are thinking when you start at 15,000, you're putting above. How does that conversation go where, let's say if they got an abundance of money or they got a good amount of wealth, right? Or say they have some money saved up. How does it go though where you're like, okay, we started at 15. We talked to the seller's agent, and the seller's like, you know what, it needs to go higher. And as you keep going up, can you guys go back to me and tell me on an experience that you've had where maybe a buyer said, you know, I don't know, is this really worth it? And every time that you go up, is there some concern? Because again, I think people
Here's
think
what I tell them.
they're missing out.
If you have to ask me, is it worth it? It's not worth it. Next.
Just like that.
Just like that. Next house.
What about you?
Homes come on off the market every single day, even if it's a low supply.
Yeah.
It's just a house, dude. Next.
Yeah.
Do you love it? Do you have to have it? Are you going to be able to sleep at night if you don't have it? Then write it like you mean it.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you have the money, do you still get that concern
So-
with these buyers, like where it's I mean, going back to an experience.
So if you back it up in the process of helping a client, like if they love the house, that's different, right? And they
Yeah.
want the house. What I've experienced is after 2 or 3 like experiences of disappointment of not getting a home, like and wanting a home,
Yep.
then people loosen up, and then I'm like, I can't say, I never say I told you,
Yeah.
but I tell them what's going to happen before it happens.
Yeah.
And then I give them, I always get the other agents tell me what the house sold for in the end. They,
Sure.
It's the accent. They just
Yeah.
like, I'm like, hello, we're friends now. what happened? You know?
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
then,
I know, right?
and, so,
Yeah.
and they'll tell you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't believe it. Well done. And I'm like, I'm really cool. And then they just tell me what the house sold for. And then
Yeah.
I go
Yeah.
back. So there's a,
I thought you were going to say,
you know?
what do you have if buyers right off the bat want to write it just full whatever? I'd say cool. Because
Yeah.
because
as
like
I
Matt,
said-
the market will teach them.
But the
trust
other
me, the
thing
market will teach them right away, man. You don't need to say anything.
There's different pots of buyers in their, like, you know, consumer, like, wants and needs. And then some people really do need shelter, and some people are relocating and are going to be homeless,
Yeah.
and have a ton of cash.
Yeah.
And so it's all different in each situation. But the buyers are really aggressive, and they want the home,
Yeah.
and they want to win. And
Yeah, but
And
do they
then with the
do they really
appraisals,
feel like they have a
okay.
chance to win though? I think that's the
Yeah.
thing.
Yes,
because the
dude.
seller,
Yeah.
well, the seller knows that
always gotta
they're
give it-
sitting on something that they can get full price above, 30, 40, like you said.
Yeah.
That number's 30 or 40,000. The sellers now coming to these clients going, or the sellers that's selling their house, the agents talking to the sellers going, we're going to get 30 or 40 above at least.
Maybe.
Because this is now the new
yeah.
starting
For
point
now,
for now,
for
right?
now.
And so as you're taking somebody through that process, I'm sure there's concerns like, okay, I started at 15, now I'm at 25, now I'm
Yeah.
at 30.
But
Dude, if you're starting even at 5 or 10, you're already paying over value.
well,
Like,
okay,
that's
so
already
something
obvious.
else, something else.
So
Is
it's what
I
level?
mean, obviously, for people that need a loan, the home has to appraise, and then that number has to be your offer contract, depending on how much cash reserve you have, has to be grounded in reality, some reality, because one, you have to be able to make up the difference if you really want the house. So you're probably going to need like 20, 30 grand to get it done.
Yeah.
If and when it doesn't appraise. I've had really good appraisals where some appraisers are out there just looking for any reason they can to up the appraised value.
Not me. I've had the opposite experience with some
I
appraisers,
I
dude.
got lucky then. So,
I had one that came in really low on one.
Yeah. So the thing is it's it is a funny time.
I got a question for you. When it comes to appraisals, why is it that they can't appraise it? Isn't an appraisal what fair market value is? And if fair market value is
So,
you're paying X amount,
There's so
shouldn't it appraise for X amount? If
I
everything is
I see what you're saying, right? Because it's the same thing. Like, what's something worth? What someone's willing to pay, right? Ultimately. So go ahead.
Sorry, after
No,
you.
go for it, man.
So with the appraisals, the appraiser is looking at the contract and what's happening in present time.
Yeah.
And he's only allowed to use historical data to get a blended picture of what the present value is. And so because the neighborhoods are going up so quick, or in some neighborhoods, people haven't started selling, and then when the neighbor sees, oh gosh, they got like this, and then a couple more come on.
Yeah.
So the wave's going, it's a moving target, but the appraiser can only look into the past. And so what he does is he like the appraisal where I had a really good experience. Some appraisers know that the whole area is going up and the comps are lagging behind, so they'll historically add extra value for like how far back the house closed that they're looking at. But
I guess the point is, fair market value is a present value.
Yes.
It is not a past fair market value. It's a present value.
Yeah, running on altitude is right on the money with it. It's basically one's opinion on the house. It's just an opinion.
No, but it's the only
That's all it
opinion
is.
that's valid, because it's the opinion
It is.
that the bank is using.
You can challenge it
if you need a mortgage.
You can challenge it sometimes, right? But
Yeah,
let's
but
say
you can absolutely do it, and
Yeah.
I've done so in the past.
So you can challenge an appraisal.
So I'm fortunate enough to have a colleague that used to be an appraiser, and then I just send it to her, and she's like, you know, there's ways to like do it.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, if the appraisal's good, that's good, you know.
Yeah.
Well,
So, but here's the worst thing. Here's the worst thing is that as a buyer's agent, I disclose to them the range of where this might go.
Sure.
Because I say, look, if we get to the appraisal and you decide not to do business, we just wasted $1,000 and like 2 weeks of time
2 weeks,
and your emotion. So like we need to know what we're getting into, and if you want to play poker and how much chips you got.
We just need to know our position going into it and not kind of get it revealed later.
Yeah, but do people
or what
back
we're
out?
wanting
Like,
to do.
meaning you start this conversation, right?
Yes,
And-
I just had a buyer do it.
Yeah,
on
because
one of my
it's
listings.
just I can't do it, right? Like, for instance, Rick, if you were buying a home, like you're a CPA, if you're buying a home and you're out there, you know that this starting point, let's say that you're the average buyer out there, or just say, let's say your position in general. Do you feel like overpaying for $40,000 is something you would go through?
I probably wouldn't.
You probably wouldn't, right?
No.
What if it's
And I'm sure you
a
can do
$1
it.
million house
If it was $1 million house,
and the cheapest house you've ever seen from where you came from? You do it without thinking twice.
Well, I think it's a case by case, but I
Yeah.
think also too that if we're talking about people that
Just
are
say
panic
never say
buying,
never.
like you would sit there and look at it and go, well, I'm not going to panic and buy myself in this market,
Yep.
even though I can
Yeah.
afford it. And I think that's the thing is, are you feeling like you're missing the boat, right? Are you missing out on the opportunities that there's not going to be any homes? I've had clients that call me a year ago, and they're kicking themselves because they didn't buy a year ago because they should have bought at that point. But again, it has to make sense. You know, if you need a primary residence, you need a primary residence. But what is the right time? If now's not a good time, let's say, is there a right time for somebody to say, you know what, do I wait for the market to come back down a little bit where you see the prices come down? Or do you say, you know what, either you're going to panic buy or you're going to come in this market because Las Vegas is desirable, you're going to continue to see the panic buying happening? Like, what do you guys think? Do you think this is going to be a continuous pattern, or are we going to see a direction going the other way?
I think anybody who's going to tell you for sure what's going to happen 2 years from now, you need to run the other way.
Well, it's panic buying today.
So-
Yeah. So,
I mean, it's more like, you know,
well, I know what you mean. I'm just throwing that out as a general rule for as a statement,
Right.
Disclaimer, I guess. Listen, I don't see any signs of anything changing right now from what's going on anytime soon. I'm not saying that. I mean, when the coronavirus came, that was out of nowhere,
Right.
So I can't say that forces of nature or whatever that happen in this world can't happen. I mean, we're always susceptible to that, but I just don't see. I see the demand continuing.
yeah.
It's just a matter of how many homes can we get on the market.
Well,
I mean, really at this point, that's kind of my only thoughts on it. Is it's going to be a while before it kind of slows down.
I just think that I think people, when they get to a point though where you're going through this process, do you really feel that you're connecting with them? And I'm sure you're real estate agents and you know how to connect with them, but understanding the concern or maybe feeling
Yeah,
like
I
maybe they're
understand.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Maybe it's an uncomfortable position to be in where you're like, hey man, I'm going to tell you, or anybody, we're at 15. We
it's
go to
what-
30.
yeah,
Are these people like, starting to sweat? And,
No, I mean,
no.
I mean,
are they concerned? Like, why am I doing this? And is this normal?
No.
And especially for buyers that maybe don't have extra assets.
I can tell you right now, no, it's not normal. But
well, I
We're
would
not in
say
a
that
normal
people, prospective buyers that need a renting currently or getting on the ladder for the first time, they got to get their arse in gear to get it done, and they've got to be graced with luck to get property if they're only putting 3.5% down, and they've just got enough to cover closing costs.
Yeah.
That's a major push up, right? Those people need to get a house for sure.
You
Like,
think it's going to keep pushing out with these new homes to give those opportunities though? Because right now we don't have any demand, but the builders need to get caught up. I feel like the materials need and the construction and everything needs to get caught up, and we could push out towards Pahrump. We could push out towards Utah.
Yeah, but
you know,
I don't, maybe. But here's the thing: I was wrong about. I lost a couple buyers when the COVID hit. I was still doing real estate, but some people backed off, like investors.
Sure.
And that was a mistake. But like no one could, and I did sell a lot of homes where people were cashing out their equity, but no one predicted that the government would just write a blank check for everything. So here's the 100%. Here's the thing. The COVID, pandemic, scandemic, or whatever you want to call it, okay, it's done.
Yeah.
Like the people that lost their jobs, they're coming back to work. Vegas always kicks off like a gorilla after a rough time.
Dude,
because
we do.
Because people want to let loose, and the Strip is very busy. Admittedly, a lot of them are spending their stimulus checks right now. It's very low rent, and all the classy international tourists are no longer visiting. But
it's true.
But the people that got furloughed or went into forbearance, they got to be back. The conferences are starting again.
That's
the
true.
Casino. So okay. There's not this lack of income, and these people so the government just wrote everyone a blank check.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The government, Joe Biden, on his watch, doesn't want to be responsible for foreclosing on people or getting people out their homes, because that's bad PR, and he'll have egg on his face.
Yeah.
And the whole thing was created by the government. So, by their decisions, right? So next year, right, I don't think there's going to be many more homes coming on the market, because he's going to order no one's getting notice of default. Their credit's not being affected.
I agree to a point. With that moratorium, I don't know how much that's going to affect the economy here. The local.
No, it's not.
Right.
It's not. But whatever happens, I don't think we're going to get more homes in the future, because there's going to be a governmental funny rubber stamp, and everyone's approved for their refi.
Yeah, but there's two things. You're absolutely right. There's two things I look at though. One is people are going to get back to work, and consumer confidence is going to be there. Also, people are going to want to now list their home because that confidence has been instilled.
Yeah.
So now you're going to start to see people list their home, and then they're back to work. Now, one of the things you have to look at is what is the outcome, though, of the moratorium? We talked about this before. And is this going to open up the market? Because maybe people won't have to panic sell if this actually does take place. Do you think it's actually going to make a difference on the moratorium at all? Because you don't think it's going to make a difference at all? No? What about you? Rick?
Did it finish, the one for eviction yet?
No, the eviction did, but the mortgage is upcoming. But I mean,
is it 1st of June? I'm sorry.
I guess. Let me ask you this.
Do you know what date it is?
I think it's June 1st.
If someone,
I'm sorry, not June 1st, July 1st.
July
Excuse
1st.
Me. Yeah.
My question would be answer back with the question.
Yeah.
Which is, so before I answer that, why would you think that it would affect it?
Well, I think that...
What's your reasoning? Or what would someone's reasoning be?
What would somebody's reasoning be?
Yeah, why they would think that.
I'm kind of on the same page with Matt, because I don't know if it's really going to make a difference, because I told everybody that you have people that maybe have figured it out with their mortgage company.
I know.
Right?
But I'm saying if someone said they think it's going to, what would be their reasoning? That's what I would say.
Is going to what? For it to be for the market to open up?
Well, if there's going to be some huge effect with a moratorium, why would they think that? And they would say because they think foreclosures, right? And my answer is great. So then you've got your 20 buyers lined up for each one of those that happen. Next,
right?
I'd say this, right? So maybe, with it being everyone's John Wick to get a house, you have to be John Wick, or everyone's very aggressive. It's possible, right? Here's the thing: it's possible there could be some type of black swan event where we're talking about a tower of Jenga.
Yeah,
that's been built up.
Yeah.
And they pump the cash on the street.
Yeah.
Forbearance, furlough, stimmy money, coming down the strip, spending your stimmy money down on the strip, busy strip, but not spending what they were spending.
Yeah.
Right? Different crowd altogether. And then maybe we're speculating about this tower of Jenga and we don't have the crystal ball, or have not found the silver bullet for next year. Maybe something else happens. But it's very delicate. It doesn't look delicate because of the trends of the migration here, the low interest rates, shortage of inventory, shortage of expandable space over 5 to 10 years. But it's bizarre.
Well, a lot of people move from cities to suburbs, and they're now buying bigger homes. And now you look at California, the cost of living is expensive.
Yeah.
But we all know that Las Vegas has some pretty big homes out here, and they have land. They don't have a ton of land, but the homes
Land's expensive.
Depends
It
who
is.
you ask.
right.
Dude,
They don't have any backyards here.
You're right in your neighbor's backyard. I'm
So
thinking,
your
okay,
average person-
where are you going to go then when they make those comments anyways?
Yeah,
But-
your average person has got no interest of being like more than 30 minutes from the airport.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Good point, yeah.
Your
I think-
average
yeah.
person.
That's why Prump hasn't really. I mean, Prump's been there for years, but dude, you can get for $350,000 in Prump, you
Get
can get
ranch.
over an acre,
Yeah.
3,000 square foot.
Yeah, and they're people
10-year-old
are working
home,
for
dude.
remotely now. So
yeah,
you,
that's the other point.
Like
That's
you
the
want
other
to bang
point.
for your buck, go to Prump, dude. You'll get a ton for there over there.
yeah. I mean, and
You
so
will.
what do you see out there as far as people like panic buying? You see a lot of people panic buying that you see, or do you hear on the grapevine out there like with people that's because you deal with
I
a
do.
lot of people.
Quite honestly, I mean, I don't see a whole lot of people panic buying.
No.
I see a lot. Right now, I see just a lot of refis is what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Because I have to provide a whole bunch of documents for
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
write letters to
Yeah.
lenders, which I
Kinda
want
gets
to know
annoying.
is there an underwriter somewhere? Because I feel like there's not. They're just like made up people. I've never met
That's
an
his department.
underwriter.
Dude, believe me, they've never
wa-
been my best
So-
friend
Yeah,
either.
I'm like, dude, I love
They
to
just gotten in my way.
Get in a
of
room
making
with an
money.
underwriter and have a chat with that
Here's
guy.
the-
No cameras.
Yeah.
Dude,
and
I
maybe
know.
some padded walls.
Yeah,
just so,
believe me, I know. I've
However, I know I see a ton of refis. I'm not seeing a ton of buys actually right now.
Really?
Because and that's only because these people they know they're my clients are here in town. They're not going out of town.
Yeah.
So they know if they sell, they have to go buy. So all you're doing is trading.
Yeah.
You're
Trading.
trading.
And so
and
your clients
having
aren't
to-
from out of state; they're from here. So
they're
the ones
typically
moving are from
here.
out of state.
Right.
Yeah.
And so because of that, they're like, you know what? I'm just going to stick it out. I'm just going to wait and see what happens. That
What about you?
They're in a good position to.
'Cause
yeah,
I-
I would concur with that
Yeah.
pretty much.
So there's nobody that's on like there's nobody that you're
Hey, we're all concurring.
no.
concurring.
I mean, I haven't
true,
seen
though.
any
I
panic
concur.
buying. Like, I mean,
I mean, people probably call you and say, Matt, I'm trying to get into a house. And they know that maybe they're moving from another state, a lot out of state. They got a time period.
yeah,
They're not,
everyone's
it's
got
not,
a time
yeah,
period.
it's like, hey, I got to be into a house by 3 months, but we know that
Yeah.
there's serious challenges
Yeah.
getting an offer accepted. And then are they willing to go above that? And then,
Yeah,
you know
they
what I mean?
always
So,
are.
yeah. And so
If they can.
if they can, and
And
I
if
think
they
that
can't,
they're
maybe
out of the
they don't-
market.
Maybe they don't write.
There's
write an
nothing.
offer. Like because of I said about the title of this talk is not to lose your head. Like you have to pull the emotion out of it early, unfortunately.
Correct.
And that's what I do. And then we just say, look, until we get a contract accepted, we're just having a game of paper. And we're just having a game of paper to get you a contract to decide if you want the home. But we're not going to tell the seller that, right? We're having the game and we're gaming them. And so then you have to pull back and be like, this is a game. And I'm like, that's right. We're playing chess. And hopefully you can say checkmate at the end of it.
That's
But
why I
until
tell my
that point,
buyers-
don't get you can't it's a very emotionally tough process, and it can be very draining. So you have to to make people keep their head, you have to check them at the beginning, and then they're not always checked fully, right? But
They're sketchy, right? They're skeptical about it, really? No?
After the first or second refusal, because they weren't going where I told them to
Yeah.
go.
Like I said,
then,
the market will teach them.
then next time they go
Right away.
Should listen to you, Matt.
Yep.
Just fucking, we want this one. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, now we're
Yeah.
ready to. Now
But
I
do
can
you
it
get
done
those
for you.
buyers that are like, you know what? It's like, hey, right off the bat, I'm gonna say, you know what? I'm not interested. Like, you told me what's needed,
Yeah.
and I'm just
Yeah.
saying, you know
Not
what? I'm drawing.
really.
I would prefer that.
I'm drawing a line in the sand because
Trust
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
I'm not willing to do that. So
Yeah.
it's never a process
well,
of.
here's the thing. With those, I'll help people however they request to be helped. As long as I think it makes sense for them.
Mm-hmm.
But my response to that is that people if they need shelter, they'll do it. But as an agent, my job is to I can't educate them right out the gate, and we've got to go out into the field. So I got to see them in the field, and then they got to experience the battle. And then if they're still interested, then we'll get them the house. But I don't make people do anything, and it's horrible. I never like am salesy with that stuff because it's unattractive and it's not real.
Yeah,
correct.
And then you need to like have authentic,
because it's not who you
like
are.
A trajectory.
Yeah.
So let me. I'm going to throw something else into this mix right here.
Yeah.
So with the way the economy is going, and what really I think is going to start to happen, especially with inflation, 4.2%.
For sure.
Interest rates are going to start to rise. So interest rates rise, your note is going to go up, and you're going to and that cost of that house is going to either come down or. Yeah, I guess my point. I didn't say this well enough.
I get what you're saying, but
you can buy a much more expensive home now because the interest rates are around 3%.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I started entering the market back when I was, you guys probably weren't even born yet.
Yeah.
We're talking about 8 to 9% interest rates.
Yeah.
Think of what if you buy a $300,000 house at that rate compared to a $500,000.
Imagine saying that
house.
interest rate to someone right now,
Right,
Like, especially a first-time home buyer.
They'd probably flip you off and walk away.
They'd say
like,
that,
"No,
that's never existed.
I mean, like this is unheard of interest rates, right?
Yeah.
So what you're saying
Now
is
it
you're
is.
losing your purchasing power.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because now rates are
Exactly.
going up. If you need a loan, your payment's higher.
That's the thing, dude. Interest rates are so cheap.
That's the thing. If you think about it, just think about if the interest rate is this low. Look at your monthly mortgage.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's what you got to go. Okay, what can I truly afford in that monthly mortgage? And it may not be about the price. If you really do have to get a house, you're going to have to get a house.
Yeah.
You need shelter, like you said, Matt.
Yeah.
So let's say, okay, well, I can afford $2,500, or I can afford $3,000 a month based off of this, and that's why there's a qualifying process, right?
Sure.
But if you think about that $700,000 house that now you're paying $3,200 a month for. If those interest rates were back at like 6-7%, which were still low back in the day, I mean that's a $4,500 or $4,700 a month mortgage payment. So we have to kind of look at, hey, interest rates are really low. We can buy that higher house.
Yeah.
I get that. If you just stuck at that interest rate forever, you'd be okay.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, there's still record lows. I mean, even though they're going up, there's still record lows. And like you said, I have such an increase in people refinancing. The equity position in homes is astounding, right?
Yeah.
Matt, going back to talking about situations with people and the housing market and what we were talking about with the panic buy. When is the last time you've had a client where they've given you an objection where it says, I don't want to spend over, or have you ever had that? And what is the record that you've had as far as somebody going above? Because we haven't really asked you that question.
Yeah. I'm not really like, I mean, how can I say this? Like, I don't mess around.
You're right there and you're just on it, right?
I'm like, it's probably a waste of time. We can go out and we'll write a couple offers, but you're not serious. But I don't say it to them like that. I'm communicating what I'm saying to them, like what the meaning is. I say to them, but I don't say it like that. But
I know what you mean, man. When you got
fine line you're walking there.
it's your come to Jesus talk with them.
So the thing is I employ humor as well, right?
Yeah, you are.
But like,
you're a funny guy, man. He's a funny dude.
Sorry, what was the question?
Damn it, Dan.
I got lost on that one.
Basically, when is the last time you had a client that kind of gave you some objection as far as going above? And what's the highest somebody's actually gone with you where they're like...
No, I've never had an objection.
Never, huh?
Because they all go above or they go within their means.
Okay. Yeah.
And like I won't put someone outside their means because I don't want them to waste $500 in inspection and $500 on appraisal. So everything's done within their means. The highest was last year. There was a referral guy.
Last year.
I'm telling you, this was.
So people's mindsets.
No. So you're a CPA sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, a CPA around. So this guy was like high up with Disney, friend of a friend. He said he approached me in October.
Yeah.
And said, Matthew, I need to close on a house by the end of the tax year. And I'm like, what's your budget? And I'm like, $1 million to like $1.5 million. I'm like, I think I can help you.
Let me think about that. Let's go.
All right, I'll get out of bed. But
guess what? It was very hard, and let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Because they had 2 young children, and he had a Tesla because he's like from California, And
Maybe that Tesla.
and we had to like do the whole thing in 2 days with the kids running around and charging the Tesla with battery, and it was raining.
Where's Elon when he needs
And it
him?
never rains, and it rained all weekend. And I was like, okay, put the John Wick suit on.
John Wick's back, baby.
So then, but here's the thing. So we found a home, 1-story home. It was listed way high for like 1.4.
Yeah.
And it would appraise all day for like, I figured it was going to appraise maybe like 1.25.
Yeah.
And I knew it was like there was going to be like some arse grab in the transaction. so then we went ahead. And of course the house didn't appraise, but it was an amazing home. It was like an amazing home, right? It was amazing.
Yeah.
Like it was an amazing home, and there was multiple offers. So I got the contract accepted, and I said, look, you know, my guy had $1 million in cash, and he's a veteran. So I knew that. I said, you want this house? We can get it, but we need to like just try and create value along the way.
Yeah.
Because I can't rip an arm off anymore. I just have to get the contract and get it done and make sure everyone's happy.
Yeah.
So then, didn't appraise. It appraised for like, it was listed at 1.4. We did some back and forth, and I think the contract was 1.15 eventually.
Yeah.
And then
1.1?
No, I can't. Honestly, I can't remember.
I was
But,
like, damn, dude, you did do a good job.
Listen, but here's the bottom line, right? The appraisal came in like 100K light.
Wow.
It came in 100K light.
And at
I
that
remember
price,
number.
that price point, it's not a problem, right?
So
Well,
this is
not
what
nearly as
happened.
much as.
I managed to knock off like 20K, right?
Uh-huh.
But the sellers, every situation is different. The sellers were old. They were in poor health. They didn't want any hassle.
Yeah.
But they were tough. They were like tough. And then so in the end we got it done. But the thing is that it's crazy with it was the guy, there was like, obviously Dan, like it was a referral, and there was like a network of people that was friends, and there was a mortgage dude in that like triangle. And I was the real estate dude, right? And then he got a VA loan. He ended up coming out of pocket, like he wanted to put 20% down. He ended up, I don't know.
20%, that's crazy.
No. But anyway, he ended up coming out of pocket like
money.
150, 200 grand.
Wow.
But his VA interest rate was like something ridiculous, like 2% or something stupid.
Yeah.
So the payment was still manageable for him, and he just went ahead and did it. And he's very happy. Everyone was very happy. So that's, there's different horses with different courses.
Absolutely.
And it just depends on the buyer's situation and the seller and a bunch of other stuff. But there are a lot of tax refugees coming from California, obviously. And he's tickled pink because he makes good money, and he makes a ton of money, and he saves 10% on state income tax. And he's probably saving like 100 grand a year just by coming here, you know?
Oh,
That's big.
I know.
Yeah.
I actually.
And he was a first-time home buyer because he never bought in California.
No way.
Because he just, I don't know what,
You can
you just don't know. But he was a vet, and he got a really good rate,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, look at the
Tricky.
market. Look at the market right now. It's 2,000 homes on the market, roughly.
2,500.
2,500.
Somewhere, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you have somebody coming out here and they're looking at homes, do you just automatically, and I'm not saying push them, but let them know this is a tough market to be in when you're buying existing homes?
They
we're
know-
just
they
gonna,
know by now.
we're going to just start at the new home process. We're not even going to go to existing because it's just too hard. You're going to pay above, and then for new home, you're going
Well-
to still pay a premium, but you don't have to go above.
Yeah,
right?
you do.
You do. So,
So that's the thing, which is.
It's a
explain it.
Go ahead.
No, after you, Brett. After you.
Go ahead, Brett.
New homes aren't like they used to be.
Okay, explain.
So now a lot of new home sites, and I would say well over 50%, it's highest and best.
Yeah.
So first of all, to find a builder right now that actually has standing inventory or something that's going to be completed in 2 or 3 months is like probably 5%, if even, you know. And in Summerlin, non-existent at all, period, for the most part. So anybody who wants to go new homes right now, you're looking at probably at least 30 days to 3 months out on a waiting list. And so you're on a waiting list while anybody else who's willing to do what the requirements are for that waiting list can join on that waiting list in that 3 months you're waiting. So there could be literally be 30 people on a waiting list. So they're releasing 10 lots, but they've got 100 people. Okay. And now it's highest and best. Who's going to come in? The lot premium is 40 grand. Who's willing to give us 50 grand, 60 grand, 70 grand?
Yeah.
And now, you're getting this model that's a base price at 450.
Yeah.
How much in upgrades are you getting? Are you getting 50 grand upgrades or are you getting 85 in upgrades? And all that's going to be considered. So now it's highest and best, literally, except you have to wait 2 or 3 months to do your highest and best. Or resales.
We're going to end the show real quick, but I want to ask Matt one last question. So if you're out there and you got a builder and there's a situation, let's say somebody's going, and I think the mindset of people is that they're lucky and that like when they're going to go buy a new home and let's say they win a lottery and they're in a lottery. It's almost like, is it really something to be happy about? It's almost like when people go buy like toys. Remember like when it's like Christmas and people are fighting for the same toys?
Let me tell you a couple things. So my
crashing through the doors.
My ex-missus, she's selling homes in Summerlin and she's selling them all, right? And people are just buying them on spec and they're saying, look, put your deposit down. You get 1 year's appreciation before you have a contract.
Who does she work for?
Edwards Homes. And
Edwards.
But I'm not going to talk about this much. But I'm just saying that
Edwards.
Like what I'm saying is that what I saw is that people are buying like 1 year out speculatively, and I've heard a few people doing that. So that's like a little breadcrumb of like is a clue of where this might be going or not, right? So and then the other thing with the builders is, dude, you just gotta like. It's rough, like, and
it's a whole different game.
If there's a multiple, if some of them now, like I took a reservation for one, like 3-story home on an acre with an RV garage, pretty unique. We got on a list. They said it was a reservation. I'm like, and then we get a chance to do highest and best. I'm like, well, technically that is not a reservation.
Yeah,
because that is.
I know.
So then we got it done. The guy paid 55 grand over. The way they do it is they get you
55 grand.
No,
dude, I told you.
They
What
say,
did I just tell you,
this
dude?
is what they say. It's a head-to-head Mexican shootout at the end.
Yes.
Right?
Whoever the
strong dude. I just told you that.
Wick,
the best man shootout.
It's really balls to the wall. Who's ready to throw it all out, man, and put it on the line,
so then
dude?
This is what they said, and I felt particularly uncomfortable about the whole situation. But that's when I shifted my mindset that my job is not to like rob for my clients, but my job is to get them the contract and get them what they want. Because right now there's no robbing.
Yeah.
Like you have to show up and you'll be like, hi.
These builders, man.
That's what I can
it.
do for you now,
we write
or
you
hopefully
another
do,
check?
is actually get yours accepted.
I felt particularly uncomfortable, but my
here's
client's
a
very
suitcase
happy.
of cash.
Yeah. But my client was happy. Why is he happy? So he's going to be into this property for like he paid 50K on the lot premium over what they were asking, and that's how they bid it out. He said, we are pricing standard, but we have a highest and best on the lot premium.
Oh my gosh.
So whatever.
Yeah,
and so then,
that's the old saying.
But guess what? He's happy because it's super unique. This guy works for Tinder, like he's high up, and then he's makes tons of money. He the house, there's a lumber shortage. There's been delays in construction.
So by the time his house is completed, it's going to be worth 100
we
grand
went
more.
into contract in January.
Basically,
it's probably not going to
it's
close
true.
to December.
That's
He's
literally
doing all right.
So
dude, it literally be worth 150 grand more.
So he swiped right on the house, or did he swipe left on the house? In Tinder?
I think he got like, what do you call it? Super swipe.
You got a super swipe.
And he's not going to get.
He paid the premium
no,
fee.
I didn't say that.
Last thing on this,
there
guys. What do you guys think is going to continue to happen? Rick, what do you think is going to happen? man?
I feel like for a short time, I think this is just gonna
gonna
kind of go
continue.
crazy.
Have
Yeah.
you seen a market like this in Vegas before? Has it been similar, or is this just a kind of its own?
Yeah, but about $200,000 to $300,000 less than what everything's going for right now.
Yeah.
But then you know, and it's scary because I've seen it just go.
But it was just at a different time because
It's a
maybe
different time.
it was cheaper
Different,
cost
yeah.
of living.
But I will say this: because lenders have changed how they're qualifying people, I don't think you're going to see that massive crash.
You're not going to. I know you're not going to.
And so I feel like if anything, it's going to do this, and then eventually
fizzle.
it's just going to kind of go.
Like Biden.
Yeah, it's gonna level. It's gonna level. It's not gonna like all these realtors that like on YouTube that they're the market's gonna crash. I'm like, dude, they're just telling you what you want to hear. They're just telling you what you want to hear. It's not gonna crash. Will it level out? Yes, everything has to obviously level out.
But here's the problem: is the wages here haven't caught up to what the housing prices.
Yeah,
100%.
And so
agreed.
Without that, unless you're coming in from California with a bunch of cash and buying a home, you're not going to afford anything. And so until wages can rise here, you're just not going to. And they're not going to, just because the strip with 20% or 25%, well, now probably 20% of the employees out there.
Right.
It's not like tips are going up in 4.2% increments, with inflation.
It stays the same because there's a customary thing there with tips and with people in hospitality. So it's almost like how do you counter that, right? Like how do you kind of correct with that, with the market going up and the housing market and say the cost of living? There's only so much you can squeeze out.
Yeah.
And then at that point you're just maybe tapped out.
You know what they should do though? They shouldn't let the English back into Las Vegas.
They should let the
We are
English back
terrible
in.
tippers.
We're terrible tippers.
Amen.
It took me years
do.
to learn how to tip properly.
I was a bellman for 10 years.
Yeah, I hate English.
And we hated people from England.
Yeah, for
No,
sure.
Really?
What do they think when they come over, Matt? Real quick though, like what do they think? Is there? Do they know that
Guys
there's
always
always
be
It's
redcoats
just a
to me.
cultural difference. I worked in a really fancy nightclub in England that was like open all night. It was like in the 90s, like house rave, all that fun stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I made bugger all tips, and that was like the spot.
Bugger
Like,
all.
Bugger all.
What's that?
Like,
Is that low?
nothing.
That's new.
Yeah,
What's
not
bugger all?
Bugger all, like bugger off. Nothing.
What is that? Is that mean low?
Yeah, very low. Like I got buggers.
Where does bloat come from? Is it bloat and a Sheila or something like that? Yeah, bloat.
That's Aussie.
That's
Yeah,
Aussie.
that's-
So
that is
that's
Aussie.
totally
Yeah.
different.
Come on, mate.
Aussie.
Yeah, come on.
So
I said,
it took me years. to learn
They
how
say
to tip.
bloody.
They say
bloody.
bloody.
Then
How I got brutalized into tipping more, because I would be like 10% max, and then if it was bad, I would say, listen, it was bad, and that's why I'm giving you $1, and here's why, and I would explain to them like.
Oh my! Dude, they would want to fight you right there, probably.
No, because I would give real constructive feedback, like you fucked up, and
they'd say,
and so then,
dude, I'm a bartender or waiter.
So then
The
what
amount of shits I
happened?
give equals
I
0.
had-
Thanks for the
Did you-
conversation.
Did you write it on the napkin, or did
I would tell them.
Oh, you would straight
I
up
would
sit
just
there and you
straight
say,
up
okay,
tell
good for you.
What did I tell you to begin with? I said with his damn British accent. I said he can be the meanest guy in the world, but he does it so gently.
I know,
Bro, you suck
So
as a
let me
server.
tell you,
Okay?
And he did it really nicely. It's like, just so you know,
I had a job.
you suck at tipping.
You gotta listen to this. I had a job at a hedge fund. I was in charge of acquisitions for this hedge fund that was buying homes during the recession.
Yeah.
And then
I remember them.
Yeah, you remember them. Fuckers. And so no.
One day I walk on, oh, who's this guy sitting in my lobby?
I know, me. I'm like, I just kicked
Matt
everyone's
Shields.
doors in.
That's how I met him.
I went John Wick on all of it. And so then, what happened was,
Fuckers.
because of my accent and because of how I talk, and I can say really horrible things really nicely,
Yeah.
like, the boss there, that a lot of people had to get fired all
It's
the
like-
time. And so he said, your job, Matt, you fire the people, and when you fire the people, I'm going to tell you what time it is, and you have to leave your office door open so everyone can hear you fire them. And then my nickname was the Bad News Butler.
The bad news butler. Oh my god, dude, that's funny.
Take us to a way that
Was
you would
that,
fire
was that
somebody.
Invitation Homes, dude?
Take us-
The thing is,
That was Invitation, right?
It would be
Yeah.
different every time. But it
Invitation
was,
it's
Homes?
tough, but
Yeah.
the thing is, most of the people I was firing were like, had the potential to earn an enormous amount of money, but they fucked up.
I see.
And so it was like hard. And then I kind of, that really taught me how to like be like corporate.
Yeah.
And then the worst thing was I had to fire my best friend. And he was fucking up.
he's not your
I had
best
to fire
friend.
my
anymore.
best
No, we're still good friends. He just texted me. But like, the thing is,
That's that British charm.
There's a
Like-
middle finger emoji.
So he already has a ton of money, and he didn't take the project seriously. And then, and he's my best friend, and so I had to fucking go to my boss and say, I need to fire Mike. And he's like, I was waiting for you to say that you're developing professionally. And I'm like, fuck. So it taught me a lot of lessons.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different world, man. Definitely with that.
How did you ever start working with Invitation Homes to begin with?
Well,
because like literally you show up one day for the hedge funds.
Yeah, and I'm like Mr. Hedge Fund.
Yeah, like he's like, I'm like, who's this guy sitting in my lobby? Because we had, we had all these short sales.
Can I tell you a secret?
This is crazy. I was like, how do you even?
I'd only had my license for a year, and I'd only done 3 transactions. And I just went in, and I just was like, John Wick, and then I went for the.
You did in our office.
Boom! I'm your guy,
dude. Like, yeah, like I'm sitting there all of a sudden.
I got a theory.
It's crazy, man. He's like sitting there.
I got a theory.
How did
I didn't even know what I was doing.
I think the accent.
The accent
gets that door opened up more than you think.
Well, Matt, I didn't know what I was doing at the time either. It's like all of a sudden there's all this.
Look, like if you have an accent, everybody thinks you're smarter.
Yeah.
I guarantee you.
Well, English accent too is a universal language where it's the easiest from what I was reading about. It's the easiest to relate to, right?
So,
like I don't know if it's just the way the words are presented, how it's put out, but that's what it is.
It's how they talk and they like kind of come up at the end. You know, and it's not.
There's a lot of different things to say and do, but like I've done a lot of like stuff in different places. And
see right there, places.
yeah. But what I'm saying is, I'm pretty competent at like getting stuff for people, and I can make people laugh even if I'm insulting them, and so it's these are useful.
I think it's your demeanor too. Like
demeanor,
yeah. It's like you got the accent, and then you're very calm. And it's like, hey, this is constructive
because you come off as non-threatening.
Yeah, it's
totally
like
non-threatening.
Like it's just,
it is. Like, was this guy just an asshole? Because I feel really good about it. That's sure Matt. That's Matt's talent.
Your accent's probably definitely helped your real estate.
Oh, for sure.
For sure, right?
I tell you, I think I mentioned this before, but do you know what the biggest thing that helped me with my real estate?
What?
Or in America in general, is when I got the American teeth. I doubled my income.
Oh shoot! Yeah,
they fucking
English
love the
people,
teeth.
their teeth are horrible.
The Americans love
wow.
the teeth. They love the teeth. Just those 3. Because I used to play rugby, I got them knocked out. So once I got my teeth done, it raised my game.
This is no. I thought
so. It's kind of hard selling, like homes with 3 teeth missing. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Let me say this.
We're about straight, clean teeth, dude.
No.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to.
We are, man.
I thought you were going to say because you cleaned your teeth. Because there's a lot of people, right? I'm not trying to be stereotypical. But it just seems like
English
it's
people
not
horrible.
Yeah, they have horrible teeth.
Well, it's just they're stained, right?
Yeah,
and it's like, well, and I'm not saying everybody, so don't sit here and say
I gotta go.
Okay,
sorry.
I'm not saying all English are like that, but we're gonna end the show.
Sorry,
Matt's got an appointment. No, we'll do it again.
Yeah.
We'll do it again. You guys have any last thoughts to anybody out there that's watching?
No.
Stay cool.
Stay healthy and happy.
In the housing market and the temperature.
All right, guys. You guys have any comments? Comment in the comment section. Matt, see you later, buddy.
Nice
You guys have a good one.
Cool. Buy Bitcoin.
You guys talk to you. Thank you for watching an episode of the French Workbench podcast. If you want to tune into past episodes, please subscribe to my channel now. Also, if you want to look at our audio-only options, we do have iTunes and SoundCloud.